up and get the weight off of it. What they do when they come out, they're gonna, since they have asked you to chalk your tires and you're ready, when you come out, you stand right here to the side of the box. And what you do is when they come out, they're gonna explain to you what you got, whether you have an A, B, C, or D. Okay, A is under the hood, B is from that was right here, back, all underneath here, back here, come back here, you'll explain everything back here, on your tires, butt fenders, mid fenders, your everything. You're going to explain all right back through here, your apron, your fifth wheel, what it's a sliding fifth wheel and all. That's a B. You'll tell them all about that. So everything underneath. I'm going to go from front all the way to back, but I'm just telling you where it's at. C is you're going to start, they say the front of the trailer. Always start right here at your electrical and your airlines right here at the back of the cab and explain to them as they come up. And then you'll go all the way down, and you'll come back around, do the landing gear on the other side, and you'll show them where the air hose and the electrical is, how it's up off the ground. That's the 3 sections, but we're going to go completely from start to finish. So here's what's going to happen. She's had me come out and chalk my tire. Okay, now she's going to come out. She told me I had D, so I'm going to do the whole thing. Here's what's going to happen. Okay, when she comes out and tells me that, she's going to explain to me what she wants me to do, and I'm going to tell her. While she's telling me, I'm standing right here to the side. What I'm going to point out, they say touch, point to, or touch and explain what each part is for, why to make this truck is safe in operation. Okay. Right in here, I have my 3 triangles, 3 reflective triangles. They're right here in the box where they belong, my box. Right here, I have my spare fuses that I need for my truck because this truck has fuses in it. If it did not have fuses, I would tell her so. Right here is my fire extinguisher. This is a 10 DC or better fire extinguisher that's properly secured inside the little door, that's properly mounted, properly tagged, and properly charged. That is my emergency equipment. They want to know that. Now, what I'm going to do when I come up here, I'm doing all of it at one time. When you do a complete D, you come out, and once you tell her that, you come out and you look underneath for what you're looking for. You're looking for leaks, you're looking for the tractor to be leaning one way or another, and you're looking at your lights. So what you're looking at right here now is I'm telling her, this is what I'll tell her. I am checking out the front of my tractor. I'm making sure that my tractor's level. If it was leaning one way or the other, that means I would have a suspension problem and that I would need to have it checked. I'm also looking on my front grille. I'm looking at my headlights on the front to make sure they're not scratched, cracked, damaged. But I'm also looking at my blinkers on each side that they are amber colored. I'm also looking at my windshield to make sure that there's no cracks or damages. And I'm also looking at my clearance lamps up on the top to make sure they're all in proper working order, proper color, which is amber. There's no cracks or damages. I'm also looking at my mirrors on both sides to make sure they're in proper working order and they're in proper shape. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come around since I have the A. What I'm going to do is open my hood. This hood is easy, you just have to pull. Some of them you have to use a foot rest right here to get it open. And what I'm going to do when I come around this way, what I'm going to do basically first to start with is I'm going to do a general overview. I'm going to just look at general observation of everything that's under here. I'm checking and I'm looking for my airlines right here that has no cracks, damages, or illegal leaks. I'm also listening for audible leaks on my airlines because you can hear audible leaks coming. I'm also checking all my hoses, all my electrical, all my clamps. I'm looking everywhere on everything that I have to make sure they're all there. All the electrical wires are in good shape. and I'm just checking as a general overview before I really get started to make sure everything's fine. I look right here for my wires on my headlights and on my front. When I get started to make sure everything is in a good shape, I got to come up into here, and what I'm looking for back here is my air compressor. My air compressor is right here. And the reason I know that is I can see it right here. What I'm pointing at right here at the end of my stick right here. These are brass fittings, and this is for my air compressor. My air compressor is properly secured to the side of the engine, and it is a gear-driven apparatus, and it's working properly. What is underneath it also is the power steering pump that you cannot see it, but it's right underneath it. And the reason I know that this is my power steering pump is because I have followed this hose right here all the way down and back, and it goes all the way back here. Now my power steering pump is also a gear-driven apparatus on this one. And what I'm looking for on it is to make sure that it is properly secured and bolted, and that they're both gear-driven. If they were not gear-driven, they would be belt-driven, and they would be on the front. When I go from this point forward, I want to make sure that they are secure and mounted to the engine and they're working. I'm looking for leaks in that bottom, listening for it. As I come forward looking, as I'm looking at all that I've got going here, what I'm looking right here, this right here is my dipstick. My dipstick is right here. What I would do before I crank my truck is I would pull the dipstick out, I would wipe it off, I would reinsert the dipstick, I would pull it back out, and what I would do is I'd check the oil level at the add mark to make sure it's there or above. If it was at the add mark and down, then I would have to add oil. If I have to add oil, then I'd have to add it right here at the oil cap. And this oil cap is properly secured in there. I'm also looking at all my hoses off in here to make sure there's no abrasions, bumps, cuts, or dry rot. As I come forward, I have an alternator that is right here. This alternator is belt driven. Okay, it being belt driven right here, as you can see, right here is my alternator. So what I'm looking for too is right here, you can see the wires right here. See the electrical wires right here. I'm checking right here at these wires and these hoses. I'm checking to make sure that it's proper. Now this alternator is belt driven. So what I'm doing is checking this belt right here, because this is a serpentine belt. That means there's one belt on this truck that operates this whole thing right here. This is a serpentine belt. And what I'm looking for can have no more than 3/4 inch play. But I'm also looking for frays, cracks, and warnings of this on this belt. Once I make sure that is there and it's proper, I'm also looking at the bolts on the mount to make sure that it's properly mounted and that it's secure and safe operational, that it is setting in this. And my alternator, what it does is it charges all my batteries that are back here at the back in the battery box and keeps where I have all my electrical on my truck. What I'm looking at this point in time right here is this is my radiator hose. This is my upper radiator hose right here is what I'm looking at. And the reason I know it's my radiator hose is because this is my radiator. I can see that it's coming across here. It's also coming across right in here to where my radiator and my thermostat and all is right here. And I know what the radiator and this hose is for, is the water keeps flowing through, keep my engine cool. So what I do is I'm checking for abrasion, bumps, cuts, and dry rot. Where the clamps are on both sides, and that's why I'm looking for all that. I also look at my, this is just a shield to keep my fan, but I look at my fan blades too to make sure they're all in good shape. What I do after this point in time, I look at this right here. This is my power steering pump reservoir right here. This is a power steering pump reservoir. And as I can see right here, it says maximum of hot. Right here it's minimum of cool. I see that I have the proper amount of fluid in it. I do not have to take a dipstick out because I have it right here. But what I'm looking for on my hose is also the clamps. I'm looking for abrasion, bumps, cuts, frays, dry rot. I'm looking for all this to be covered. Like I told you before, I can see the power steering pump coming back. This hose is coming back and coming down, and it's going back to back here. Now what I look at back here also when I'm looking at all this, I'm looking right here. This is my steer column. My steer column is right here. There's the steer column right here. This I take and I put my hand and I check it. And what I'm looking for, it can have no more than 10 degrees play in here. If it's got more than 10 degrees play, that's telling me that right here that my U-joints, either here or up here at the top, are in bad shape, and that they have the little ball bearings inside, or the little pins inside, are in bad shape and they're cracked or damaged, and they're not. If it's more than 10 degrees, I have to get it fixed because it's unsafe to operate, but right now it is. It's also properly greased at the top and the bottom. And what this steer column does is when you come down, when you follow it down, what it comes to is my power steering gearbox right here. Now my power steering gearbox is right here. As you can see, it comes down and you see the hoses, and it's all proper, nothing happens, no abrasion, bumps, cuts, or dry rot. What I'm looking at is this is a mount right here. Power steering gearbox mount. It's right here and around, and it's properly bolted to the frame of this truck right in the front. As you can see right here, I'm looking for the bolts. I'm making sure all bolts are there, all nuts are where they belong, and it's holding and is properly secured to the frame. Also about this mount, what it does, it holds two other things. It holds my radiator right here, and I can see that my radiator is properly mounted right here at this part on it, and it's properly secured. And as you can see right here, my power steering reservoir is properly mounted right here on the frame of the side of the radiator. Now also other thing that I'm looking for when I look here at this mount, right here there is a bolt right here. This is called an eye bolt, and what this eye bolt goes to is a leaf spring. This does not have air. It's not an air ride system on the front. It is a leaf spring. So right here, this eye bolt and my leaf spring, this is a leaf spring right here, and what I'm looking for on my leaf spring is to make sure the bolt is here, the eye bolt's in good shape, there's no cracks, no damages. I go back to here at the back here, and what I have back here at the back here is the back side of my leaf spring, as you can see right here, and I'm looking at it as it is properly secured and bolted to the frame, and I'm looking for any cracks, damages, or illegal welds. I'm making sure all bolts are in good shape. So once I get that checked, then I come back up towards this way, and right here I have, right here I have a hydraulic shock. The top mount right here is properly secured to the frame, properly bolted, and I'm making sure. Right here at the bottom of it is another eye bolt, what I'm looking to making sure it's properly secured and it's not going nowhere. Being this shock is a hydraulic shock, that means there's hydraulic fluid in here. And if this shock was leaking, the fluid would be leaking, and I would see it be dripping, and it'd be in bad shape, and I need to have it checked. Now this leaf spring, as you can see right here, as it comes up with my power steering gearbox, I'm checking all the bolts on my frame, all up and down while I'm looking at all this, and I'm making sure that this frame has no illegal welds, cracks, or damage. I'm also looking to make sure all the bolts that I can see and the wires that I can see, everything is in good shape. So as I come towards my power steering gearbox right here, what I'm looking at that point is I'm looking at my three-piece steering axle right here. This is a pitman arm, a drag link, and it's called, I call it my top steering knuckle, is what it is, and it's connected to my steer axle right here. And what this does, this means what part right here works. When I turn my steering wheel, this tire will turn to the left or the right. Okay, that makes it for one side. What happens is that there's another rod back here at the back, right down here. It's called a tie rod. This is my tie rod. What I'm looking for is to make sure that it's properly bolted with all the castle nuts and the Carter keys are all right here. And I'm looking on this tie rod right here that goes all the way to the other side. I'm making sure there's no illegal cracks, there's no illegal welds, there's no cuts out of it, and it's not bent. So what that does with that tie rod, when I take and turn my steering wheel now, both tires will turn equal amount is what it needs to be. Now what it holds this steer axle and leaf spring together and in proper order with a rubber mount is my U-bolts right here. As you can see, these U-bolts right here, they come down through right here on the steer axle, and what I'm looking for is the nuts on the bottom to make sure there's no new metal or nothing that would tell me that they're loose or they're damaged. I'm looking at my U-bolts to make sure that they're in proper working order. What I'm doing now, once I look at all this and make sure all this is handled and is taken care of, then I come to my air brake. This is my air brake chamber. This is a single air brake chamber. The way I know that, I have one air line coming to it from right here. I see it coming up. And what I'm doing is checking there's no cuts, no damages, no bubbles, no breaks, no abrasions, no dry rot, nothing to that sort. What you see right here beside it is what they call a speed sensor. This is my ABS speed sensor. This tells me when my analog brake system quits working. But being on this truck right here, as you can see, it's a single. This is not an S-cam setup on this tractor. This tractor has disc brakes all the way around. So in this, I'm looking for this right here, that there is a caliper inside here. When I step on my service brake, that this airline right here operates this. When I step on my service pedal inside, What that does is it takes, and when I step on it, the disc pads on the inside, the caliper comes and pushes the disc pads to my rotor, which my rotor is right here. My rotor is on the inside. You can see it here, and you can also, if you look out here, you can see it through your rim right here. You can see it right here, and it goes around. And what I'm looking for on this disc rotor is I'm looking for it to be having cracks. I'm looking for cuts. I'm looking for ruts, for scratches. And the reason I'm doing that, that starts on these disc rotor pads, on these disc rotors, excuse me. That means the disc pads are down to the rivets and they're starting to wear and they need to be replaced. Now when I get through looking at all that, then I come in here and I look on the inside of my rim right here. This is the rim of the tire that holds the tire on. This rim is also sitting right here. As you can see, all the mechanisms are right here, as you can see. So what I'm looking on this rim for is I'm looking for any illegal welds, any cracks or anything to that, because you cannot weld these front steer tires or any rim as far as that goes. You cannot weld them because it's illegal and it makes it dangerous. What I'm looking for also on the inside is I am looking at my tire. I'm looking for any bubbles, I'm looking for any abrasions, I'm looking for any bumps. But what I'm also looking for that, I'm looking at the bead of this tire coming around this rim all the way around. I'm looking to make sure that it is properly sealed to the rim. If it's not properly sealed, then you can have problems and you can have air loss and you can get a low tire, flat tire, and you can have a flat tire. When I check all this on the inside, I come to the top of my tire. Come to the top of my tire and I check what I'm looking for in the top of my tire. Is I'm looking for any screws, nails, anything, any object that can be on the road that can get in and cause me to have a flat. But what I'm also looking for is they have a tool that you can take and you can match in through here, and you can have no less than 4/32 tread on these tires. And these tires have to be, as they call it, virgin rubber. And if it's virgin rubber, that means it cannot be a retread, cannot be a recap, cannot be a regroove, whatever people want to call it. They just cannot have them on our steer tires because that is dangerous. And that's what I'm looking for. So what I'm looking for is no less than 4/32, and as a tool you can check it all in different areas. That way you can make sure that your tire is rolling and you're getting proper tread wear. When I get through this and I come all around, I look on all outside of my tire out here. I'm looking for any abrasions, bumps, bubbles, or cuts, damage, or anything. I also look at the bead on this tire to make sure that the outside of the tire on this rim is properly sealed. Not just the inside, but you got to check the outside. So what I'm doing now also is I'm checking the rim. I'm checking the rim on the outside. These rims are thick. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for illegal cracks and illegal welds out here because it does not need to be here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my lug nuts. I'm going to check to make sure that they're properly tightened. And what I'm looking for on here, the way I know that they're not tightened or if there's a problem, is I can have shiny metal showing somewhere on any one of these lugs. And when it's showing you shiny metal, that means that you have a loose lug nut. Another way of telling is rust on them, coming down on the side right here when it comes down. And how that happens, if it's wore out the lug nuts from the inside out, what it is water's coming up from the inside on the road if you're doing, and it comes up, it'll rust, and rust will come down right here on the side, and that'll tell me another way. I'm also looking for my valve stem. I look for my valve stem to make sure that it has a proper cap on it, and I'm looking to make sure that it's not broke or damaged, because if you have a valve stem that's cracked or damaged, you can lose air here also. And these tires can have no less than 100 psi, or to what the manufacturers say, which usually is 100 psi. Now what I'm looking also is I check right here just to make sure my bumper's in good shape and it's tight. I look at everything right here. I just look at everything that I have right here, and I take care of it. Now, to go to the other side, what we're going to check on the other side, means there's a couple parts that's over here that is not on the other side. When I come around here, what I do is I do a general overview. I look at all of my hoses, I look at all of my electrical lines, I'm looking at everything, clamps. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for abrasion, bumps, or cuts, and I'm looking for dry rot. I want to make sure that all these, this is air conditioning lines, then you have your radiator reservoir right here. The reason I know that is because it just sits here, and then it looks and it's coming out from right here. You can see from where it's going for the radiator. It's right here on top of it. It is. I check the cap to make sure it's good and snug, that it's in proper working order. I also check the level right here to make sure the level is proper, because if it's too low or you got it too high, then there's something wrong and you need to have it checked. But I also check all my clamps on everything. I check every hose. I check every line around here. And what I'm looking at on this side right here is also I look for leaks on my radiator, and I see the other mount on this side that's properly mounted to the frame that holds my radiator here. It also holds my leaf spring on this side that I explained the other side. There is an eye bolt here, and there's an eye bolt right back here that you can see right here. The eye bolt right here that goes properly to the top of the frame and is properly secured. I also look for my hydraulic shock. I look the same on this as I did the other side. I look at on this leaf spring to make sure on my U-bolts on this side on the steer axle is proper. I look at my tie rod on this side to make sure they're all proper, there's no cuts or damages. I also look at my single air brake chamber on this side. I look at my rim and my tires all just like I did on the other side, and I check it all out and I make sure it's done. Now this right here, this is my windshield washer fluid. I have to check it is properly mounted to the frame. And on both sides of this truck, when I'm looking at my frames, I'm looking for cracks, damages, or illegal weld. I see it's properly secured, but I'll still see the cap is properly secured where it bleeds so it doesn't lose fluid. And also look right here for the proper amount. Make sure I have a proper amount of windshield washer fluid. Anything else that I look for here right here also is my water pump. My water pump is right here. And this is a water pump pulley right here, but this, like I said, this is a serpentine belt, a single belt, but I still check for frays, cracks, and damages on this side and make sure it has no less than 3/4 inch play. The reason I know this is my water pump is because I can see this right here. There's a line coming off the bottom of my radiator right here, and it comes up here to the water pump. And that right there, I look at all my lines and hoses, and that takes care of what I'll do. Now I'll shut my hood.
That's A? That's A?
That's A. If you want to say so, that makes an A if you draw an A, but we're going to go completely through. So when you get done, you come around, always make sure that everything is sealed and secured. Okay, I forgot, and what's on this side here is I forgot my wheel seal. And what needs to be checked, you need to check and make sure that there's no grease, there's no loose, there's nothing there, but you also check the little cap right here to make sure it's not slinging out. So, thank you. Pause that.